Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 95.
95 and still flawless.
95, and Fluff still can't get the intro right, but that's okay. We're almost there. Episode 100, it's going to turn around, guys.
Yeah.
It'll turn around.
True.
Oh, man. What a week it's been. We got lots of stuff to talk about. Some of it not ARPG related, but it's
RPG related.
it's RPG, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty fun week. How's your week been? How's your schedule? Is everything still cool with your, I mean, you've been doing this work at home thing for a while, so
Yeah.
pretty sure you're
This is week
kind of still in the
5
groove.
for me from working at home. I worked from home before this job, so it's just like reverted back to that. I left the house like once in the last 5 weeks. So
Yeah, I've gone grocery shopping twice in the last 4 weeks. I've been at home for 4 weeks now.
Mhm.
But yeah, other than that, it's going okay. It's kind of starting to get to me a little, and I think it's more just because I can't. If I guess I'm just used to getting out once a week, just going and doing something, you know. So I think it's starting to wear me a little bit. My wife doesn't handle it near as good as I do. I don't feel like she's because like for me, I can play games all day, and that keeps me entertained.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I'm good with that. And then when I get burned out playing games, I can watch movies, and then when I'm tired of watching movies, I can sleep, and then start the cycle over. And so for her, it's just watch movies. And I've been trying to get her to play some games. We've been playing Detroit Become Human. Have you ever played that, or you know what it is?
I know what it is, but
Yeah, it's like a super story-driven game with very minimal input required. It's like make decisions. And it's okay, it's fun, but she's actually asking me to come play with her, like, "Hey, let's go play Detroit," because she wants to finish the story, so it's okay. And then, she's a big Tetris fan, so they made some Tetris VR game, and I bought that, and, like, it's okay. So we've been rocking those 2 a little bit, but, she definitely I can tell as the weeks go on, she starts to get a little bit more crabby every day, and I'm just like, "Okay." And it's just because she's pent up. And so the other day I was like, let's just go for a ride. And we got in the car and we just drove around for a little bit.
Sure.
And I think that helped a lot. I think that made a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, divorce rates are way up right now. Divorce lawyers
Are they really?
Yeah, oh yeah, big
Is
time.
that a legit thing?
That's a legit thing, yeah.
Huh?
Because people haven't spent time together for the first time.
Like, fuck it, I'm out, man. I'm out.
So,
can't do it.
it's crazy.
That's surprising to me that they're up.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess,
Yeah. But Lindsay had developed a cough, and so she went and got tested for corona. And she came back negative, but for some reason, like, her job's like, no, you still can't come back to work because you have a cough. And she's like, well, I don't have corona, though.
Freaking people out, maybe?
Yeah. And then, so now they're saying, like, well, if you get a second corona test, and the doctor approves, then you can come back to work. It's like, I don't know. To me, it feels like they're trying to, like, pull back some hours.
Trying to save some money.
Yeah. And like, just using this as, like, kind of an excuse. But
that's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope stuff works out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know it's affected some people financially, myself included.
Totally.
That group, like my wife's not working right now.
Right.
So it's it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't last forever. But
right.
Let's jump into some ARPG stuff.
Nah. So anyways, corona.
About that corona.
Yeah, let's pull it up. Okay, so last week we asked, while Rax was on the podcast, should Moondanugu Witch Doctor get nerfed? If you guys have been living under a rock, it's performing insanely well right now. Rax was able to do like a 130 plus as a fresh, brand new Witch Doctor. You talked about how you were able to just jump right into metas.
Yeah.
With no background really required.
Right. Ease, like brand new, fresh. Yeah, it's pretty solid, man. It's pretty solid.
Yeah. But then again, Witch Doctor has been kind of in the shadows since Hellbats, was the thing. So, or Firebats was the thing. So maybe they deserve their time in the sun for a while. I don't know. I'm going to say yes. What about you?
Ooh, I'm conflicted because part of me is like, this is fun. And Witch Doctor hasn't been a good class in so long that I like it being one of the best.
Yeah.
But then part of me feels like it's not balanced at all. But is there balance in the game right now? I don't know, man.
I think that's their dream, right? We'll get into that in a second because we actually have a topic that's kind of about that.
I'm gonna say yes, slightly, but it hurts me a little bit to say that, and I mean very slightly.
Yeah,
I think it needs to be reined in. Like, just it's okay if it's the best class still, but it's pretty good right now.
Yeah,
it's a little juicy.
And 72% of the vote says no.
Yeah, people love it, man. They love that. They love that power, dude.
Wow,
that's
crazy.
It's strong, man. It's okay. I think it's okay if it stays for another season or so. But ultimately, if we ever get a balance patch, like if there's a final, okay, for Shelf and Diablo 3, everything's on rotation now. It's an outlier that needs to be reined in some. But there's so many sets that need to be buffed. I would hope they spend more time buffing other sets than nerfing the powerful ones we have.
Right.
It's crazy. And trying to hit that 130 balance. I think 130 is too high, personally. I don't think they should balance at 130. I think they should balance rifts more around the 110,
120s,
120s maybe. But I think if they shoot for 110, then you have a couple outliers that are pushing a couple high. You're still not in jeopardy of hitting those 150s.
Well, it's not 130 format, man. It's 130 solo. So
that's my point. Yeah, that's what my point. My point is, terrible. If you're balancing around 130 solos, then you get 4 people and you're pushing 150s.
Yeah.
If you're balancing around 110 solos, then the chances of hitting a 150 group player are less. Probably still happen, but less.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And then I know people hate this, but we're gonna ask a non-Diablo related question for next week because it's so goddamn relevant right now. Did you like Final Fantasy VII Remake? Mm-hmm. Yes or no?
I can't help but laugh. I already know.
And we'll save that for the Fluff Hates ThaPChild Loves segment of the podcast.
Foreshadowing.
No, maybe ThaPChild hates Fluff Love.
Maybe. I could hate the shit out of it. There are some things I hate for sure. So
yeah.
Oh man. So what's going on with this DH and Necromancer stuff?
Yeah, so this kind of touched home for me. It's posted by MicroRNA on the official forums. He talks about how, his big fear is that Necro and DH get the same treatment as kind of Wizard and Witch Doctor got this particular season, where they just get they get their new set and they get like a couple items that actually only support that new set and nothing else is done. And then that new thing becomes that's how they want you to play for a while. And everything else is just kind of left forgotten and in the dust. And so there's this huge difference between the new set and unless you're talking about Wizard and the power of everything else. And it just kind of feels bad. And it's Diablo 3 historically has been okay, let's buff this new thing. Everything else, fuck it. Right. And that just feels so bad because it gives you one way to play the game. And so to really drive it home, they talked about this in that last big balance poll that we talked about weeks and weeks ago, where it's oh yeah, this is this is within our realm of expectation of a Crusaders doing 140 non-season with 5K, and maybe that's too strong or whatever, right? And so we need to back that off. But what's important to note here is he shows the top clears, right? So he's got a Demon Hammer as the top GR clear non-season, 141. But if you take the average of the top 25, it's only 134. If you take the top of the 200, it's only 127. So it's a pretty big gap. And the same thing with Necro.
I think those average top 200s are, I even like to see an average top 500. I think that's a pretty decent representation of the total power of the class. And if you took all those and averaged them in, you can compare it. You could honestly see a huge, deep or power curve. I feel like, but yeah, I like the top 200 average. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and props to him for doing that work because that's
a lot of pages.
Work. Same thing with Necro. 139 top clear. It's me, by the way. And then the average top 25 is 131, so an 8 GR difference. And the top 200 is a 123. Which is pretty big difference. Barb is a 147. Top 25 is 141, so it's a 6 GR difference. Top 200, 137. So overall, everyone's playing Whirlwind, and it's really easy to play. So the average is actually pretty high. Crusader, 150. So we're hitting cap on Crusader, non-season. But the average is 146, which is still insanely high.
Yeah, that's craziness.
A top 200 average is still 140 plus. So expect Crusader nerfs for sure. Monk, a top 144 clear, and the top 25 is 139. So a big 5 difference there, but still 133 in the top average, which isn't that low.
It'd be really interesting to see what the average Paragon was for those two.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The average Paragon for top 200 is like fucking 8K or something crazy.
Top 200, I would assume that's like probably 3K only, but you never know.
Non-season?
Non-season,
oh,
yeah.
No. Oh, no way.
I wonder what the average Paragon is non-season. Like, it's got to be still pretty low.
I mean, my non-season Paragon is over 3K.
Yeah, but that's not that much.
I'll look. Yeah. I know. I don't think it's much at all. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying the average top 200 player, I would say they're probably closer to 6.
You think?
5 or 6.
You have the game pulled? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
And Witch Doctor's also hitting cap non-season. The top 25 average is a 147, which is pretty nutty. And then the top 200 to 143 average. So that's pretty crazy. And then finally, Witch Doctor. Oh, go ahead.
For non-season, what do you want to look at? What class? Let's say Witch Doctor.
Sure.
Rank. We'll go to rank 200 ish. 200 is Witch Doctor. 5,000 or 5.5, 5.6,
really?
5
in the 200. That's crazy.
3.8.
I'm surprised that many people are playing.
8,000, 6,000. I mean, so there's some big ones. There's a couple guys at like 2,200, which is really low considering. But there's some 7,000, 8,000 people in here, which is pretty nutty, man.
Right.
A lot of 8,000s, and even in like the bottom 100s, there's 8,000s, 9,000s. So. That's insane.
Yeah. And then we have Wizard, a 143 top clear, 137 top 25 average, so 6 GR difference there. And then top 200 is 130 average, so still pretty decent. So, yeah. Biggest drop-offs here, like Demon Hunter, 141 top, and top 200, 127. Yeah. Same thing with Necro. Like, that's huge differences.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It just shows the skill gap and probably the gear and Paragon cap.
True. Can you pull up the Necro, like in the 200 range? Is that still like mages? And what kind of Paragon you see?
If we go to America's current season on Necro, we have, let's see, in the 200 range, there's a guy on there with 1,000 Paragon. That's pretty cool. They're Paragons all over the place. Let me look at the characters. They're playing Singularity mages. Yeah, LOD Singularity. Yeah. At least this guy was. Let me check another one. Yeah, it's the same. It's all LOD Singularity. That build sucks so bad to play solo. So I hate it.
Yeah, same.
So yeah, it's a fun group. It's a fun group play build, but solo, it's oh my god,
it's awful.
I want to poke my eyes out. It's bad as thorns.
So yeah, that's to reiterate, like that's my biggest fear as well, is that like everyone's like, oh, like you're obviously going to come back. Obviously, I'm going to play, the next season because it's going to have a new Necro set. But I'll be so disappointed if, the Necro just gets like a new revive set, which is probably going to happen, even though I don't think that's how it should go down. But just a new revive set and some pieces to buff that.
I hope that, man, I'm nervous that whatever plans they had for balancing and shit got thrown out the window with the stay-at-home Corona stuff too. Because I know it's a smaller team and hopefully they're set up to work efficiently at home or could have the tools to do it. But what if they can't, man? What if they're like, dude, we don't have any fucking resources. Blizzard won't let us remotely take resources off because they're afraid, we're going to get leaked or code stolen or whatever. So I hope, man, that they have the power and the tools and the people. If they're outsourcing any of their graphic work or animation work to people, that's in the realm of probably happening. So if that company gets shut down, you know what I'm saying? Yep. So hopefully they're on schedule. But I think the dream would be that they put the new set in, and it's I personally would like it to be strong like Witch Doctor, not quite that strong. I would like it to be the strongest set for the classes, I hope. But it also the other ones brought up though. Like let's go. I mean, you're already doing the pass. Let's go ahead and buff damage a little bit for the other play styles. And
Sure.
I would obviously like to see Tragouls and Pestilence get Pestilence get separated to where they're not the same play style. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, like it's easy. It's super easy at the very least. Okay, so the new set, the win here is it's a fun push build. I don't think Necro really needs more speed. I think the easiest play is to make this new set like a good push build, and then to buff Inarius and Pestilence, because those are just
Inarius
really
has
easy
always
buffers.
been shit. Like make Inarius good for once.
Yeah.
Like it was only good on the PTR. I don't ever remember it being good after they nerfed it on PTR. Do you? Was it ever good live that you remember?
No. I mean, it has playstyles that work, but it needs like a crazy damage mod.
Maybe, but Inarius would be cool to actually not. I mean, that's like a free set in itself right there because nobody ever plays it.
I just mean from the easiest thing to do is just buff numbers on Inarius, buff numbers on Pestilence. Tragoule's a little tricky because you gotta remove Bloodlance or change it in a great way so it doesn't shift, the meta back towards Bloodlance, but. Yeah, that's kind of the dream for me is at the very least. I would love to see a ton of other stuff, but
what do you think they're going to do for Demon Hunter set? I think it's going to be a Chakram set.
And that's a good point too, let's say, the new Demon Hunter set is really fun. It's really powerful. Demon Hunter was in a good spot before they kind of started buffing up the other classes because Demon Hunter, I feel like was one of the most balanced as far as what builds could push up. Like they had like 4 or 5
on the leaderboard, and they had an RGK option that was viable, and there were some Z Demon Hunters running around, so they were in a good spot.
Yeah,
they have to balance the rest of Demon Hunter. If they make a new set that's OP, I would like to see them compete with Crusader for RGK. Just like an example, and I think this is super awesome, is right now, and it's only because of the seasonal theme, but right now you could bring in a Death Nova Necro for trash clear in metas, or you could bring in a Witch Doctor. Playstyles differ slightly for your teammates too, so they kind of have to adjust accordingly. But you can bring either one, and it's really cool. And I would love to see Impale get juiced back up to where it could be a RGK, Crusader could be a RGK, and then even maybe Frenzy Barb could be RGK. Right. I would like to see there be options. So whether or not if Demon Hunter Impale gets juiced back up to compete with Crusader gets brought back a little bit, or maybe this new Demon Hunter set can potentially do a trash clear. So you could have Witch Doctor and Demon Hunter trash clear because Necro is going to get kicked out of metas next season without the cube.
Yeah.
Which is, I can't believe Blizzard's going to let that happen. That's their pay to win class. There's no way, dude. This new Necro set's probably going to be a trash monster. Would be my guess.
But rats are still there. Even if after the
rats
cube
are there
change.
For the speed meta, but they wouldn't be in the push meta. This would be the first time they've never been a push. Is that true?
No.
Were they in meta for? We had Witch Doctor Z Monk. I mean,
they weren't in meta for seasons because of Star Pack.
They were Thorn RGK, but when that got replaced with Crusader, maybe last season they weren't. Yeah. So I don't know, man. But it would be nice to see that options viable. If you give people options to play their class and they don't have to I gotta make a rat to do metas.
Yeah, it does suck that what will probably happen is the new Demon Hunter set will be above and beyond the rest, and so all the diversity that Demon Hunters had will just be gone.
Yeah,
they're not going to bring up every set.
I think Impale plays fun. I think multi-shot plays fun. I think grenade strafing is garbage, absolute garbo. I hate that set. And I really don't think Natalia's Marauders, which is basically played a lot like Marauders, I don't think either of those play styles are fun.
Yeah. They need a jank Marauder out of Natalia. That'd be the best.
Yeah. And Natalia kind of needs a redesign or...
No, Natalia's great. Just pull Marauder out of it and buff it the shit out of it. Natalia is actually an amazing play style, if it was true.
Well, I don't know, man. It's been so long since I've actually played straight up Natalia's.
Yeah.
Your Rain of Vengeance arrows doing all the damage?
Yep.
is that how the original playstyle worked, right?
Yeah.
Is your Rain of Vengeance did all the damage, and then as you strafed around, it reset the cooldown on it. So, yeah, man. I mean, that could be a really cool trash clear build. Even that too, if they buffed it properly. Like in metas, you could group up a bunch of shit,
totally,
and Rain arrow it down. So, yeah, it could be fun. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Yeah. So let me ask this. Let's just to clarify. Do you like Hydra not being the most OP wizard build, or do you think that was a mistake?
I think that was a big mistake.
I do too.
I mean, I prefer to see things brought up accordingly, and so like everything performs the same across the board. But like, you introduce a new set, and no one's even playing the new set. I think that's a big fail.
I do too. I think it was a huge misstep, and I kind of feel like the Barb was too. You know, with Whirlwind, especially with Whirlwind getting juiced up last season, and then these aren't even the top tier new things. It's like people only care about Wish Doctor. I almost feel like maybe they should have drugged this out and gave us one class per season. With the rate that it's going to take Diablo 4 to come out, you know, I don't know if maybe they know something we don't know, or if there's like, okay, listen, we got enough production or enough budget for classic teams to do all the sets here, knock it out right now before the budget's gone, or what. But
maybe they're lining up with the Immortal instead of 4.
Maybe. I mean, because you're going to have one season, which is not going to be extended, I'm assuming. We don't know that, but let's assume that this is a 4 or 5 month season. So, you know, maybe June or July, we get these new sets, and then that's it, man. Then what are we going to get? We're back to just seasonal themes again?
I mean, they can definitely implement, you know, the things that they have been doing where they fix legendaries that are garbage and buff things up accordingly and try to balance and stuff. I think that's enough to carry as long as the seasonal themes are fun.
Would you like to see some more effort spent on quality of life?
I don't really care. I mean, I just want like
that's what I'm more
things to do
anymore.
No, I don't think so. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you know, we want this to be auto pickup and blah blah. Like, no, it's fine.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, auto pickup would be nice for me because I'm lazy, but I think it ultimately degrades the game. I think it degrades the quality of the game. It would make me burn out even faster.
Yeah, I keep seeing like one of the top voted posts right now on like the official forums is like people are like, oh, season of Nemesis, like where you literally just get Nemesis bracers. I'm like, that is the most boring fucking idea. Like,
yeah, and like, what if you don't want them? Like, you know, I don't know why you wouldn't want them, but like, you know, what if you don't want them?
It's like we can
like
get
in
better than
hardcore.
that.
If you're playing like a hardcore demon hunter with Impale, and like you always spawn those reflect minions that spin around, and then you kill yourself. So
I think whatever they come up with next season, on top of that, here's the thing: is like one of the best seasonal things they could do right now is season of Paragon Cap. But like your low end players aren't like gonna be like, what the fuck? There's nothing for us, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have to do like a normal season, and then on top of that, you could do like, okay, season of like Nemesis, please God no, but like season Nemesis plus like 2K Paragon Cap or something like that. I think that would be pretty juicy.
Nemesis is straight garbage. I mean, Traveler's Pledge Compass Rose would be more interesting than that, but it's still garbage too. I think they stepped up the seasonal theme. I think if it's just a legendary item equipped, that's a step backwards.
Yeah,
for sure.
Agreed.
They can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I might have to start to think of some good ideas because I don't really have...
I still really like SVR's idea where it's just like, just throw every legendary affix on something else. And it's just like,
just
what?
randomly mix it up.
Yeah. This is like a
could you like randomly generate that too? So if there were some fucking insane combinations made, like let's say Necro gets every weapon on like head, shoulders, chest, you know, pants, whatever. And then, you know,
God tier.
If there were no human intervention, like it just rolled the dice. All right, this is what you get. You know, I think that could be interesting.
Totally.
Especially, I think the cool part would be to figure out what was on what.
Yeah, totally.
Like every time you see a drop leveling, every time you see a drop in a greater rift, you're gonna be like, oh shit, what's this? What
Can you imagine leveling that season and you just see a legendary and you're like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, this could be anything. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
That'd be exciting.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I saw this, you've talked about this a lot before too, is so like, you know, this one person Odette on the forums is talking about how, big games like Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite are doing, physical hardware bans. And what really stops, Blizzard, one of the biggest gaming companies out there, and also owned by Activision, so that you would assume they could share that tech, not doing that for games like Diablo.
I didn't know you could get a hardware ID off a GPU. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I know you can get the MAC address of a LAN card, but you can reprogram, you can spoof those. But yeah, I mean, so here's a thing. Like, this kind of relates to a story that I'm a big Destiny fan. I love Destiny, and I've talked about it a lot. I don't play Destiny right now. It's been shit for like the last, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months. And I bought a bunch of, I pre-purchased like all of this year's content and all that kind of crap. And I haven't played any of it because it's garbage. One of the problems they have right now is the game went free to play.
Yeah.
And when it went free to play, then people started releasing bots, aim bots, wall clipping bots, God mode bots, all these bots, because it's free. Why do people care? They can fire up a new account, cheat on that new account, LOL, get banned, make a new one. So I was in some Crucible. The last time I played was probably 4 months ago. And I did Iron Banner, and I was getting absolutely shit on in PvP. And it's like, I'm not that bad. I'm not saying I'm a god, but I'm not that bad. Like, this dude jumped through a window and like headshot sniped me. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like that's a 1 in a billion shot, and it was happening to me like every game.
Are there kill cams in Destiny?
No, there's not. I wish there was. It just shows the person that killed you, though. Right. So, but I went back and watched it on stream. I was streaming it, so I watched the replay of it, and I'm like, that's an impossible shot. And then when shit like that starts happening all the time, you're like, okay. So when I start questioning, like, are these guys that good? Am I, or is it cheating? So then I got linked a video this weekend that was from 6 months ago, and it was the most prevalent cheat bot in Destiny. And it was showcasing it. It was showing how it worked. And this guy is just running around aimbotting, and he's headshotting everything. It's like instantly, as soon as he hits the right click to aim, it goes straight to the person's head.
Wow.
And it's like, what the fuck, man? And this bot still works. It's still active now. It's got a god mode you can enable to where you can't even die in Crucible.
Wow.
It's got like wall clipping, so you can like go through walls and just it is horrible. And I'm like, how does this exist? And so the reason this got brought to my attention is because all the big Destiny streamers and PvP guys are quitting. They're like, this is bullshit, man. We can't take this anymore. I can't even get to Lighthouse, which is, the pinnacle of PvP in Destiny, because every other game I'm fighting a team of cheaters, So
that's fucked.
I would love to see something done, man. GPU bans, MAC address bans, hardware ID bans. I know Overwatch does hardware ID bans. I've heard of people getting banned on Overwatch, buying a new copy of the game and being banned instantly upon loading it up. So that
still blows my mind. Is like, there's so much money to be made from these fucking losers. Like, just ban their account and then make them buy your game again. Like, I would do that every day and earn Blizzard money. Like, literally. Like, you pay an intern to like go through the boards and be like, okay, that guy has like literally 24/7 uptime. Ban. He's gonna buy a new account. Cool. That's like, $40 you just made. Cool. I'll take that money. Like, it's right. It's free money. It's literally free money.
And if they don't come back, then fucking you get
great.
You just
it's
like
a
win-win.
Better. Right.
You're making more money, or your game's better. I don't know like how hard it is to catch cheaters. Obviously, it's a cat and mouse, and the mouse must be really fucking good.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, I was so hyped when they're like, yo, botters time's coming and this and that. Dude, I have people messaging me still this week about, yo, so-and-so's botting. He confirmed to me, blah, blah, blah. And then I got people in chat like, yeah, dude, I bot all the time. And then one guy's like, yeah, man, I just stay off the leaderboards, Yeah.
I'm going to try to pull
it. And I'm like, okay. And then another guy's like, fuck it, man. I bought 24/7 and I still haven't got caught. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that reminds me of like, so Murda, the husband, Muggle Mama, he posted Nintendo Switch of like season. Like people always come in. We're always talking about like, oh yeah, people fucking mod on console, and they're always like, well, yeah, not on season though. This guy's seasonal, and he's modded the absolute crap out of his gear, and nothing is being done.
Yeah. So. I don't. So like, I might cut PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo a little bit more slack because I don't know what tools they have available to them to monitor that, other than just looking at leaderboards. And then how do they ban a Switch account? I don't know the protocol. I don't know the agreements Nintendo has with them. But for PC, it's fucking unacceptable. It's crazy that you can look at a guy and do the math and see that, okay, season has been live for a month, right? I think the season launched March 13th. Was that when it was? I don't know. Whenever. I think it was March 13th. So it's been a month. And there's somebody that has 22 and a half hours uptime or 23 hours uptime. It's like, dude, why? Why isn't he banned already? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Right. It's crazy.
You know, you're sleeping 1 hour a day. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to keep talking about this until the end of time, unfortunately. Apparently.
I don't think it's ever going to change. I was excited when they were announcing like, yo, it's coming, their time's coming, this and that. Like, I was like, dude, let's do it, man.
Yeah.
But
it's weird that you bring that up. So it was Matt that said that, right? Matthew was the guy that said, hey, their time's coming, and so like we got us all hyped up that like some actual thing was happening. And so today I saw this post of like, like, okay, we obviously know that Brandy's left Blizzard. Now people are like, where's Matt? Because we haven't seen Matt posts since before Brandy left. And even I thought this was interesting, like the MVPs, who you would think would have kind of like some contacts, like to because if they're like, oh no, something crazy is going on in the forums, they'd have like at least an email address to like bring someone official in or something, and they don't even know what's going on.
I said something to my contacts when I heard the announcement. I was like, who's the new person going to be? And the response I got was, don't know. So now that could be like they just can't tell me.
Sure.
Because I don't ask very much stuff. Right. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I'm just like, so I'm like, okay, cool. But I haven't heard anything. Nobody knows anything yet. And then also, when Brandy's letter, she said she's been working on putting documents in place. Which is like, they don't even have the person yet. I don't feel like that person's
wild
still out there,
I mean, they made it sound so like when Brandy said her goodbye, she made it sound like people were coming in to replace, and that they were being like trained up, and she was showing them the ropes. I thought I remember reading that. So I guess I'm just surprised to not have seen anything still. Yeah,
I don't know, man. Maybe she was just teaching somebody how to like manage the forums and post blog posts, and while they looked for the replacement. I don't know.
It would seem crazy to me that like the the MVPs of the forums wouldn't have any idea who the new CM is or any idea what's going on, because I mean they kind of work for Blizzard for free. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it just kind of surprises me, I guess. Yeah, because we've seen
really weird.
Total silence. Which is just wild.
It's like we reverted. I feel like we were on a really good path for a little bit.
Totally.
Like Blizzard or BlizzCon came and D4 was announced and the community was hype and everybody was happy.
Yep.
And then the Diablo 3 team, like, Brandy and Matt and everybody was talking so much. And they're like, on the forums and, dude, this cool stuff's coming. We're going to be banning people and bot cheaters are going to get it. And we got these new classes and these new sets. And like we were in a good path, man. The trajectory was great, and then now it's just like radio silence again.
Yep.
So it does suck, man. I don't know. It's like we haven't heard anything about Immortal, which maybe that's intentional. The Diablo 4 news is once a quarter, so it's like nothing to get super crazy hype about. And
it's been
Diablo 3. We got two new
that
sets.
Post. Yeah, since that last Diablo 4 post, we haven't heard anything from.
Silence just feels so bad.
It does.
Silence is like the worst of the worst. Like negative news is almost better because at least it's something solid. But when it's silence, you start theory crafting like, oh, they don't care, and they
could at least come out and say like, okay, because of like Corona and losing our CM, like you're gonna hear some silence from us, but we'll be back. I don't know. It's just it is kind of weird.
It's just bad, dude. It's like it just feels like we're repeating. What was it?
Our past transgressions.
Season 13.
Yeah.
When was that? Season 13 all over again? I don't know, man.
That's wild.
So, I hope not.
To be fair, this is a pretty wild time period.
Yeah,
for the world.
For sure. It is crazy, and I will say I am 100% on board with cutting slack for the Corona stuff because I'm working remotely. It's hard for me to do all of my job remotely.
Really?
I drove into my office Saturday. I said I hadn't gone anywhere. That was a lie. I just remembered I drove in Saturday. I drove in Saturday because I knew nobody would be in the building. And so there was some stuff that I needed to do server side that I needed physical access to my servers for. And so I drove in Saturday afternoon. And it was like, I don't mind working on the weekend is because I know nobody's in the building. Like, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I want to come in contact with anybody. I opened the doors with Lysol wipes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what people are doing and stuff, but and then I'm really the only one that there's like a couple people that have access to the server room, but the other guys don't go in there. So, so I know it was pretty safe, but it's hard, man. And I get that. So if there's delays and shit, but just say like, hey man, this is really.
Yeah, but I guess it's like, over. I mean, I'm sure Matt was going above and beyond his own game to like really get involved, or his own.
Oh, I think so, 100%.
Yeah, title, right? Like, so
I don't think it was his job at all to get on the forums like he did. And I think there was some I'm gonna call it adrenaline dump from the D4 announcement. Like D4 announcement hit, everybody was super hyped. Even he was hyped.
Sure.
So he's on the forums. He's reinvigorated to Diablo 3 and all this and that. And then a couple months goes by and you can try to get back into your old routine of going to work and grinding. So
yeah,
I'm sure it
totally.
Way. Yeah.
And then I saw this post, which I thought, we've talked about it a little bit before. But basically the TLDR of what's happening here is, a lot of players seems like are fed up with Diablo and Blizzard games historically, like just absolutely annihilating solo play in the sense that it's so much more rewarding to do everything in groups. And
makes sense.
Right.
It totally makes sense.
And while, Diablo 4 is like, you can definitely play the whole game solo, we still don't know if that necessarily means, like, okay, should you not play? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you can play Diablo 3 by yourself, of course, but like,
of course they're going to penalize you if you play solo. There's no fucking ifs, ands, or buts. And it's a business strategy, man.
Sure.
If you play with people, then you need people to play. So you're going to recruit people to play the game. It's a free recruitment tool. Like you're going to recruit all your buddies. You're going to be like, yo, Diablo. If you could play solo the whole time, like Final Fantasy, for example, I don't give a shit who plays Final Fantasy. I'm playing it because it's a solo game and I love it and I love the story and I hope you like it and I'll recommend it to people. But if it were a multiplayer game, I'd be like, yo, Fluff, you want to get on some Final Fantasy with me? Hey, anybody else in chat? Hey, my friends. Hey, my brother. You guys want to get in and play Final Fantasy? It's the shit. You should come play with me. Or, vice versa. But it's a marketing tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I totally get it. Like, you want to encourage group play because then people are going to try to get their friends to play if they're not already playing. Yeah. And a social aspect, it keeps people coming back and blah, blah, blah. But like, yeah, I think that there is validity to the post of like, it does feel bad that, if you're not in a group, then you're being less efficient. So obviously the solution is SSF in the long run. But yeah, I get the post and, there was a lot of people that agreed with the sentiment, even though I felt like this guy in particular came off a little strong because he was like, I'm not buying any more Blizzard games if this is what you do.
I mean, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
Yes, you will.
But there's a lot of people that were like, yeah, totally agree. So I was kind of surprised.
Have you ever boycotted a product legitimately and been like, something that they did triggered you enough where you're just like, you know what, fuck them, I'm not buying any more of their stuff?
I mean, I've
been mad at people, but I'm trying to think of something that I've actively been like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that anymore.
I definitely made the decision in the last Call of Duty, like I'm never buying a Call of Duty game again. But
really,
yeah. This last one, the only reason I turned it on. I mean, unless they go back to like jetpacks and stuff like that. Fuck.
Yeah, see, that's when you'll go back.
Yeah, totally.
The only thing that I've done, the only boycott I've had is I boycotted one of the Chinese restaurants near my house because they tried to screw me over one time, and So I'm like,
I boycotted Chick-fil-A for sure. I've not been to Chick-fil-A since they decided to be anti-gay for some reason as a corporation. Shouldn't have to decide, I'm going to Pizza Hut. What's their stance on this issue? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
So I
could be down with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same. Like I ordered this food. They charged me for the food. They came and they brought like a non-itemized receipt, and I'm like, yo, no, I'm missing this stuff. And the guy's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'll come right back. And then so the guy comes back, like it was my food. I gave my food to my kids. Like, here, you guys go ahead and eat. So I'm the only one that didn't eat. So I'm waiting for my food. Like 45 minutes later, the dude comes back with the stuff, and he's like, yeah, that's gonna be, $15 or whatever the craziest. He's like charging me for the food, another delivery fee, like everything. And I'm like, dude, no, I'm not paying you anything for this. One, I didn't eat. Two, I already paid for it.
Right.
And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, that's fine, whatever. And so after a couple times of that, I'm like, you know what? I'm never gonna buy their food again. And that's the only time. And there's been a couple times where I'm like, dude, it'd be so good to have some Chinese food right now, but I can't do it, man. I'm boycotting those guys.
Right.
So
yeah.
But I see people say that all the time, I'm never gonna buy a Blizzard game. Yeah, right, dude. If Diablo 4 comes out and it's the shit, this dude's gonna be the first one in line. Like,
sure,
give me a copy.
Yeah,
I want it. So
yeah, it's interesting to see that. And in light of remakes, right? I saw this pop up and I thought that this was pretty fascinating. So someone remade Diablo 2 Act 3 map, or the town, inside of Unreal Engine, and it actually looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, it does. So this is why I think, first off, for a single guy, if it was just a single guy that did this, like, hats off.
Yeah,
it looks like an incredible amount of work. I don't know. I've never done anything in Unreal, so I have no idea how much work it is. But I would be down. Like, I think the Diablo IP could branch off and do an action style adventure. I'm gonna say like Assassin's Creed style. I don't know. You probably haven't played an Assassin's Creed, but it's like it's an action adventure exploration, kind of Breath of the Wild style game where you can just kind of go wherever, do whatever, but be in that realm, kind of like Witcher, I guess, but better. Witcher was a little, I don't know. Witcher felt a little dated to me for some reason, but I didn't play it until recent. So maybe in 2013 it was the shit. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But I would be down, man. I would definitely play.
Yeah,
especially if it was dark and gruesome. And
if this is Diablo 2, like they could obviously show like the top down, and you could definitely use that. But yeah, that'd be so good to just play Diablo 2 in Unreal Engine. Like, that would be at least like 1,000+ hours for probably a ton of people out there, and they would pay full price. Really. So, but yeah, it looks really good. So props, to whoever did that. That's crazy, man.
That's them.
And he just did that off of like, the map, like from Diablo 2, which is nutty.
So much work. I don't. What would possess somebody to do this?
I don't know.
Hopefully, this is like an application, or like you can submit this to Blizzard. Like, hey, listen, I don't know.
Yeah,
what you
maybe
got
it's on his resume or something. Yeah,
resume or a fucking like final exit exam or something.
Or maybe his dream is like, oh, Blizzard's gonna be like, oh, hey, we'll hire you because you made, what I mean? I don't know.
That just seems like in a crazy amount of time just to like, well, look what I made. Like, okay. So,
woo. It's cool though. It's definitely cool. Man, that'd be so fun.
Have you got any goblin packs in Diablo before?
No, but Reddit.
No. Seriously. If you're going through a level, like this happened to me the other day, there was like 20 goblins all standing next to each other.
Oh my god! How do I upvote what you just said?
Have you ever seen that? Have you played the game?
Yeah. So we're back. It blows my mind week after week on Reddit. These posts get like 500 upvotes on it, like a fairly dead Reddit.
You know what, man? I need some Reddit upvotes. I think maybe I'll make one this week. I bet if I made one, it'd go negative.
Guy touches a bandit shrine, and it's like, oh my god, bandits are spawning, and then 500 upvotes later. It's just The only thing that's a sure thing to get upvotes on the Diablo Reddit is goblins. People love goblins, apparently. I don't know. It always feels sketch to me, but
they do love them, man.
100% accuracy. Like you could post a new meta podcast, 5 upvotes on a good day.
Right.
But goblins? Fuck yeah.
Fucking
checks all the boxes for me, man.
Yeah, fuck that podcast. Goblins.
That's wild, man.
It is crazy.
And same thing here. Like this guy got 1,000 votes because he's like, I beat console Diablo for the first time with my girlfriend or fiance, and 950 upvotes. Like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, that's
wild. Couch co-op, man. They're trying to like, you know, make sure people think the couch co-op.
For the couch co-op.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, account bot that.
Right.
Everybody at
go
office, like it's a blast email company wide. Everybody mandatory go upvote this thread.
Yeah, I mean, we used to get that. Like, I worked at a 401k like startup, and like every single time they posted on social media, they'd be like, they'd send out an email like, hey, if you want to go like this on your social media accounts, it'd be great. I'm like, that always feels super sketch. But,
did you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I did it.
Fucking it.
Because I had stock in the company. Of course, I did it. You know.
Yeah, good job.
But yeah. This was really, really cool. Path of Exile won the BAFTA for the most evolving game.
BAFTA, badass fucking total annihilation.
I don't know what it stands for.
That's what it stands for.
Is it really?
No.
I was like, what's this really fucking weird acronym? BAFTA.
BAFTA. What does BAFTA mean?
British Academy Game Awards.
Okay.
Where does the F come from?
Yeah. And
BAFTA.
T. Where's the T?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yep.
But that's what it is.
Yeah. So that's.
So what did it win? What category did it win? Evolving game.
Most evolving game. Cool. Yeah. So that just means like
that just
no game gets more content basically on the internet,
right?
Than fucking PoE. It's insane. We say it week after week. That's why it always blows my mind. I say it all the time, but like when I see like someone complain on Reddit on PoE, like about like, you know, my class isn't getting anything new or something like that, I'm like, shut up. Like, please shut up. You guys have no idea how spoiled you. Like, if just like living in a PoE bubble and like imagine
back in my day, we had to walk to school both ways uphill and didn't get an update for a year.
It's crazy.
Yeah. We're going to tell our kids, remember season 13? That'll be the thing, though. 20 years from now, you could be like, yo, Fluff, you remember season 13? And you're going to be like, fuck yeah, I remember. You know?
Yeah.
So
season 13.
Nah. Season 13.
I remember season 11, I guess. That's the first season.
Season 13, it was like 13.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Never changed.
Pretty much. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. Like, congrats to PoE. Obviously, you know, we say week after week, we're so jealous. You know, we'd love to see, you know, Diablo.
So how does it feel jumping back in the PoE saddle? I mean, I saw you were about to, you know, you were hype right before we were late for podcast because you were trying to do some potato
Grandmaster. It's the most, it's the dumbest thing in the game because it's so troll. It's like literally like PvP rules inside of a map. So it's like,
what do you mean PvP rules?
Yeah. So it's like their actual build, like the things I was killing, those are actually like player builds and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's like they've got the PvP rule set inside of a map, and it's like a bunch of people's like builds basically. So you're like,
and so does the game significantly change for PvP rules?
Yeah. So it's just weird. And then like sometimes you'll run into stuff that's like immune to your shit. There's like nothing you can do. Or
if you would have succeeded, what do you get?
I get more map progression. So like it increases my chances of getting things basically. More Atlas progression. But
right. So it's not just a bragging rights thing. It's actually
I mean, it is nice to get Awakener cleared on your map because you never have to do it again. Or not Awakener, but Grandmaster cleared on your map because you never have to do it again. But it's so toxic. But I also failed Awakener 8, and that felt bad. But that's the first time I've done the new Awakener 8 fight, and it is harder. It is definitely harder.
They juiced them up, huh?
Yeah. We did Awakener 5 and 6 deathless. Awakener 7 killed us like twice or 3 times. Awakener 8, we just bricked. He killed us hard.
How many deaths do you get?
6.
And were you close?
I think I only had him like 25%, but I auto kill at 10%, so I only had like 10-15% health to go.
Yeah. You're getting there, getting close.
Yeah, we'll get it next time. That was just like the first time we had the fight.
All right, man.
What's up?
I got to talk about it.
What?
We're
not done.
Okay. Come on. Hurry up. All right, we got good stuff to talk about here.
Delirium statistics. I love this stuff. I love stats. You know, we did that. Remember that when we did 2 months ago? We had that original Diablo 3 vanilla stats post. That was so cool. And you know, PoE does this kind of league after league. They usually talk about builds that are popular and stuff like that. But this time they talked about something that was kind of interesting, which is a new the league mechanic. So what happens is occasionally as you're inside the Delirium, these Delirium orbs will drop, and that they're things that you can use on maps to make them have permanent Delirium. So as soon as you enter the map, they're fogged. And if you can use up to 5 on a map, and if you use 5, it's insane. I've only did it once. I did it once on a T16 map. I couldn't do it. It was insanely hard. It was actually really cool because it made PoE kind of play like a GR, but harder.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, and so they talk about okay, of the types of Delirium orbs, what's the most used, which is really, really interesting. So obviously the most used is the Find Delirium orb. They go into percentage of maps opened with 5 orbs is only 8% of maps, whereas 1 orb is 71%.
So why is the Find Delirium used more?
It's just a better reward type than the other kinds. So
it's significantly more than the other ones. So. Right.
So I don't have them memorized off the top of my head, but you know, some of them are just way better than the others. But yeah, it's not a ton of people are doing 5 orb maps because they're insane. But 1 orb maps, it's really, really juicy just to even put 1 on them. So that's probably why.
Yeah, and you can see the deaths on the next slide. I don't know if you skipped it, but
yeah. Yeah. According to this, you know, there's a lot of deaths happening with the Delirium, which, to be fair, Delirium is really tough. There's a lot of on-death one-shot mechanics. And sometimes, I never died of Delirium unless one of my biggest complaints with Path of Exile is pathing and the movement skills. So literally if I'm running shield charge or whirling blade, stuff like that, if there's a pebble on the ground and I don't see it, I run into it and I would never know. And especially since there's this new fog, I have an even less of chance of seeing this tiny little pebble that I collide with, you know?
Right.
Instead of just moving through it like you would in Diablo 3, just collide with it. And that's so bad because then you're just why am I not moving? And then you're fucking dead.
Did you test any of that on PoE too? Did you have opportunity?
I'm curious if don't think there. I did. I don't know if there were movement skills. There might have been dash, but no, I didn't. But yeah, that's one of my biggest complaints of PoE is how shitty most of the movement skills feel. But yeah, and then we have ratio of deaths to number of orbs used, which is just I just love this stuff. And we'll just post it and you guys can evaluate it for what you want, but that's kind of hilarious. Not a ton of it's surprisingly there's a lot of people that are able to clear up to wave 20 in Delirium, which is actually pretty challenging. 76% of, you know, waves that were started were completed on wave 20. So
but there's cookie cutter OP builds that a lot of people like Cyclone was it a couple of leagues ago. What's the current OP?
Even after the nerfs, the Herald stuff is still nuts. So they're still just gods and they can stand and everything and they do tons
Is that
of damage.
One of the, if not the most overpowered builds still?
Yeah.
So I would assume if you're playing Trade League and you target those, then that would inflate the numbers if they're playing the OP shit.
Yeah.
What's yours? What have you completed?
20. I've done numerous 20s, yeah.
Cool.
It's so rewarding, but it is so boring. There's someone in my chat that's oh yeah, I just bought 100 simulacrums, which is the name of the zone. They do 20 waves. It's honestly one of the least creative encounters I think I've ever seen. Because what happens is you spawn in like one of the towns, and that's the map you fight in. And all the towns are like super cramped, and they're terrible like maps to be fighting anything on. And you just kind of sit there and you fight through 20 waves of stuff. And it's just like, man, the rewards are so good.
And that does sound boring after like one or two times.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be like doing GR keys all over again.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Okay. Now go ahead.
Okay. Listen, I got beef with your tweet.
Yeah.
You tweeted that Final Fantasy VII is 3 out of 10.
Yeah. 100%.
3 out of 10.
Yep. Okay, I can't tell you exactly why.
I know. So we're gonna keep this spoiler free.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't played it, we're gonna do our best. We're not gonna say any spoil. I mean, the overarching story has been out for 20 years.
Yeah.
So, like, come on, man. But I know some of you probably haven't completed the remake. I haven't yet. I am extremely close. I feel.
What a casual. What a casual.
I know, right? How dare I?
I mean, it's Sunday. It's Tuesday, P. What the hell's going on? Get it done.
Just the life. I actually wanted to play. I don't stream on Sundays. I wanted to play it Sunday, and I could have, but I wanted to stream the entire thing, so I resisted.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe that you actually legitimately rate it 3 out of 10.
I do, and I understand I have a very unpopular opinion, which is also kind of blowing my mind.
That's crazy to me. So I will say, I think this is spoiler free. I will say my biggest absolute complaint with the game is on a technical standpoint. Running at 30 FPS on console makes me want to vomit. I mean, you're used to playing at high frame rate.
I didn't even notice.
I play at high. You didn't notice?
No, I mean, I have PS4 Pros. Is that still 30 frames?
It's still 30 frames a second. It's like when you spin the camera, maybe you're not running your monitors correctly. I'm gonna have to check your setup, help you out. There's no, I don't know how you would notice, dude.
I don't notice.
It's insane. It's so bad to me running at 30 frames. So that's my biggest complaint, which is maybe a hardware limitation, but man, it's garbaggio. And then I feel like they intentionally did things in the game to waste your time to make the game longer.
Yep.
That's and if you guys have played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're green things on the map, that you can go do. And I think that was completely put in there just to waste your time, to extend the amount of playthrough it took to complete the game. The first time it was okay, but once you start repeating them over and over, you're like, okay, this is stupid AF. Aside from that, I don't have too many gripes.
That's crazy.
I don't think it's as replayable as the original.
No, absolutely not.
I think this is a one and done. Like, I'm going to play it once, maybe twice. If it releases on PC, I might play it again just for the frame rate and, new content if they had any. But, yeah.
How can you say that? I just so like the parts you have played, like the whispers, like what do you mean? I don't understand. That they're fucking terrible.
Okay.
We will wait until next week to really dive into like everything.
Yeah, if you haven't completed it by next podcast, we're probably gonna go a little spoilerish
at the end. Yeah.
We'll talk about it. We'll do it at the end of the pod, so you guys can skip that section if you want. But yeah, man. How do you not spoil things? There are some. The way I relate to it is, I would say the original is like a book, and this is the TV remake, right? Have you ever read, like, I read the Game of Thrones, the Song of Ice and Fire. I read the book series before the TV show was made. That's one of the few books I read Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and I read the Game of Thrones series. And I've read a couple other series, but if you read the books and then watched the TV show, you were like, oh my God, the first season was pretty spot on. They skipped obviously some characters and stuff, but it was pretty close. But it's the same thing, man. The original was the book, and this is the TV remake, and they embellished certain things, but the overarching story is still the same. Story was good. Voice acting was phenomenal, dude.
I will agree for the main characters are phenomenal. I think that there's a lot of not matching that happens on the characters that don't matter.
Yeah.
And those are pretty bad.
And this one is definitely more linear. I think the first one's kind of linear too, especially
to this point, right?
If we're comparing the chapters,
right?
Yeah. The Midgar stuff is pretty linear,
yeah.
and I agree with that. And that's, so I'm okay with that. But replaying it being so linear, I don't think would make it that much fun. But yeah, man, I think the voice acting is great. Like the first time you heard Barrett go, dun, 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 like that was the shit, man. It was cool as hell. I was like, oh my god. So yeah, there was a lot of win moments in it, and
but yeah, so confirm, like, so the side quests, the green things that you speak, like, obviously just there as filler content, so irrelevant, like, and so annoying, really.
It makes you learn the map a little bit if you wanted to, if you care, but there's
no point to learning the map, right?
And it seems so mandatory to get some of the things that you need. Like you can skip it, but you would hurt yourself if you did. You would regret your playthrough if you did. So that's my biggest complaint. But all in all, man, if I wrap that up, it doesn't drop it to a 3. You know what I mean?
No, it totally, like, yeah. Obviously, like, you haven't finished the game yet.
Yeah,
but goddamn, man,
we'll get into it. Okay, so that leads me up to my a couple follow-ups.
Okay.
Is the PlayStation going back now?
It's already back. I shipped it off yesterday. Yeah. I've already returned it.
That is hilarious. Okay, second question. Did you buy digital or you bought physical?
Digital. So I lost $60.
Okay, so you still have it on your account for someday.
I'm never
another place.
Gonna get
you don't have another PlayStation 4.
No.
When part 2 comes out, are you going to buy and play part 2?
I can't. I mean, probably.
Okay, so is it 3 out of 10, and you're gonna play part 2?
Yeah.
I don't believe you believe with your 3 out of 10.
No, okay. I absolutely like. There's nothing that carries the game at all. Like the combat isn't very good. Graphically, it's okay. Story-wise, it's garbage. You know, and the filler content is clearly just like a moneymaker. But like, you know, some of the reason I play these games is to spare other people money. Like if I'm sitting here and like, yeah, it's fucking garbage, then I just save like hundreds of people in my chat that money because they don't have to buy it. So
maybe I liked it so far. I think it was worth the money. I don't think it's as good as, something about it doesn't hit the same spot as the original. It's more of a play it once story thing. If you've never played the first one and this is your first introduction to the story, some of the twists and plot things, at least what I've played so far, stay pretty true. And they're pretty like, oh man, the moments are pretty good. So I think it's I disagree. I think that I think it's worth the money. I think it was I think the story is awesome.
I think 9.5 out of 10 people would agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the combat is much improved over Final Fantasy 15, which I think was the starting block for this style of combat. I think there are some unavoidable damage that you take that's total bullshit. I don't think they reward skill enough in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes you just get hit and there's nothing you can do to stop it, and it just seems like that's super cheap. And I feel like there's too many cheap moments where it's like, what the fuck? I can't dodge that. I can't block that. I can't, like, I'm just gonna lose half or 3/4 of my health just because it chose to use that skill on me. So I don't know if they're trying to stay true to the original. In the original, it was turn-based, so you're going to get hit and take damage.
Sure.
But this one is action-based, so I think it should reward your skill a little more. If you're quick enough to hit evade, if you're quick enough to hit block, it should reward you for those things. But all in all, the combat was fun at times, though. There were moments where I was like, that was cool. That was a fun fight.
Sure.
Interesting, man.
Yeah, I will say, like, so, you know, I hated almost the whole thing until I got to Shinra HQ, which is where you're about to get.
Yeah.
And like the several hours that followed that, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of on board. I'm like, I think that Shinra HQ like hit all the cylinders for me. It was great. Um, up until you get to kind of to the roof, and a lot like that piece of the game it was great. It felt good, but outside of that, which is only like 5 hours.
I was really debating if they're gonna be able to pull off the open world section for parts 2 and 3 and 4, however many parts they make.
I can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. You'll see why. You'll see why.
Okay.
But yeah, it does feel bad. You know, they promised 40 hours of content. I beat it in 39, and I wasn't even efficient. Like there were several times where I got lost and I got turned around. Like, so I could have beat it faster.
I honestly expected 15 hours of campaign. That was my expectation. I think in most AAA title, action-based titles like God of War or you know, some of these titles where it's like you're kind of on this linear path and it's a lot of 3D modeling, a lot of environment modeling, a lot of voiceovers. I think 15 hours to 20 hours tops is the standard. So if you took away all of the green things we talked about we didn't like, what's that number really go to? Half?
Well, like my review or
the playtime?
Playtime. Man, probably like I wonder 10 hours, 10 to 15 hours, yeah.
Because that's going to put it more in line with, because you know those reuse a lot of the same areas, a lot of the same people.
Yeah.
You know, like you're backtracking back and forth. So that's really my big complaint with the game. That's honestly, the 30 FPS is dog shit, but that's just hardware. But the backtracking is it's horrible, man.
There weren't enough challenging combat encounters, in my opinion. Like, and all those green things, I feel like those should have been opportunities to have like challenging combat encounters. And there just wasn't enough combat overall, I felt, period. Like it just, you couldn't like just sit there and grind on something if you wanted to, unless it was, you couldn't just like walk around and go, and get set into a combat, you know, like you would in old Final Fantasy, right?
Right. The ones that had, you could traverse back and forth in the zone and
so much walking,
right? But but I will say that the challenging combats didn't feel challenging in the sense that they just seemed cheap too. It wasn't the challenging wasn't the same as what I would expect. Like, oh, I need to level more before I come do this. It was just like, nope, this is an unavoidable cheap attack that I can't block. And you know, but the only fight that I've had in the game so far that I was like, no, I can't do this, was Leviathan.
Sure.
You know,
I think there's a lot of people.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, this is, and it's because of a cheap mechanic. Like I'm doing good. And then he one-shots my whole team. That's unavoidable damage. Like it goes to a cutscene and you can't move.
Final Fantasy 7 had that too. Like the weapons would do like, okay, if you're not healed up to the tippy top on every character, you're gonna fucking die.
Well, it killed all my characters but one. So maybe I was just underleveled for the encounter.
Maybe,
you know what I mean? Which is okay. That's fine if they want to grind, but they don't really have a great way to grind, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of my thing. I enjoyed the game. I'm not through it yet, so I can't give it my final score. If somebody was like, judge it right now, rate it right now, I think I would give it like an 8 out of 10 right now. I'm definitely happy with the purchase. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I own it. I don't think it's the best game I've ever played though, and I don't think it's better than the original.
No.
So
I think that's the ultimate debate to me, is like you call it Final Fantasy VII Remake, and like the only thing that's the same is some elements of the story, but like nothing else is the same. So I mean, it's like fraudulent to me.
I don't know. I mean, I think they did a good job of telling the overarching story so far, but
you'll see.
I can't even go into it because of spoilers. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we'll or not tomorrow.
I mean, I would love to, like, honestly, as soon as you beat the game, like, just ping me. Like, I would love to, like.
We'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a thing where once I beat the game, whether it's tonight or tomorrow, it'll either happen tonight.
I want to when it's like fresh in your head, because like.
So either tonight or tomorrow, I'll hit you up, and then we'll hop in Discord, and we can sit there and we'll have a conversation live. And if people are watching me beat it, then obviously they don't care about spoilers. Right. So, to the 5 people that like to watch Final Fantasy. So,
I love to get like Rax in there too, because I know he beat it even before I did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
He went hard. There's a lot of people. I mean, there's a ton of people that played it from, the Diablo 3 community. Mm-hmm. So
I was surprised that Leviathan didn't play it.
Leviathan doesn't like it?
I mean, I think he likes it, but he didn't play it.
Maybe he doesn't own a PS4.
I don't know, man. Crazy.
I don't know.
But you could just buy it and return it. Easy, guys. Come on.
Is that? I mean, I guess it's not illegal. It's just shady, but it's,
Yeah, it's shady.
It's flat.
Yeah.
It's not like stealing fucking what was it? Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Yeah. True. I don't know what you're talking about, by the way.
But. I don't know either. Let's hit up some Twitter questions.
Yeah.
The first, if you guys want to submit questions to the podcast, you can join either of our Discords. We both have a new meta section in there. You can drop your questions in there. I'll go check every week. You can also tweet at either of us on Discord, and Twitter. Tweet at us on Twitter, and we'll have it from there. The first question comes from Maester Mages. He says, "How do you feel about shirt nipples?" Is this something that happened in your stream? Because I have no idea what he's talking about, but I haven't.
You gotta know what this is. You know what a shirt nipple is,
I
right?
mean, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. It's like you see the ladies wearing the shirts and they got the crease that makes a nipple.
No. It's when
the dude wearing a shirt and you can see his nipples.
No. So the proper thing to do, and maybe you don't know about this because you still iron your jeans, but when you hang up your shirt, you do it inside out. Otherwise, you get like the shirt nipples that you get like your shirt will just like pop up there. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like, so sometimes like Lindsay will be really, really nice and she'll hang out my shirts, but then she won't do it inside out, and I get like so I can't really complain, but
yeah,
you get like the little thing.
I fold and put most of my stuff in drawers. Actually, we have dresser drawers. My wife pretty much took over the whole closet, and we have a fairly large closet, and she took all of it. So I fold my stuff, and I iron though. Like you said, I think real adults iron their clothes.
No adult irons their clothes. No one. That should have been the survey. Okay. Literally, no one irons their clothes.
Who doesn't? Like, I steam my clothes now. I've upgraded to a steamer. Have you ever used one of those things?
Yeah, for like a suit. Like maybe if I'm going to a wedding. Sure.
They're amazing. You like to look wrinkly. Like if you pull a t-shirt out of the dryer and hang it, it still doesn't look as good.
It's fine. You literally hang it up. If you get it out of the dryer when it's done, instead of waiting for like 6 hours,
it's not as crisp. It's not the same. So how do I feel about shirt nipples? I don't have that problem, I guess. I thought we were talking about people being nippy in their shirts.
No,
put on two.
Of course.
Did you ever wear two shirts? I remember in high school, I always wore two shirts. Like I had white t-shirts that I wore underneath everything. I would have a white t-shirt on underneath a regular t-shirt.
Regular t-shirt? No.
Yep, always had t-shirts.
Like I would only do that if I was like, because flannel was kind of popular.
No, that was a thing. It was definitely a thing with my crew of friends. We always had two shirts on.
Wouldn't it just be hot?
Nah, I mean, I don't know. Not really.
An undershirt for your t-shirt. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you still do it at all?
No, not really. Not anymore. Kind of, it's, grew lazy. Mm-hmm. Chad says, will season 21 be season of Blackthorns? You can think they're going to buff Blackthorns?
No.
I think they already tried that once.
Did they?
Nah. I think they buffed it up. Didn't they put like a bunch of shit on it? Like in season 11 or 12 or 10 or
no,
they
not
juiced
that
it up.
recent.
I don't think it was ever good, but it was a thing where if you were leveling and you got it, you could be like, oh shit, this is a it's something.
Yeah, it's like impossible to make a cross
universal
set. Like
yeah,
LOD
and the only one that
breaks
even works are like cooldown reduction sets, like Crimson's.
Yeah.
So the only sets
still
that would
better for some than
universal
it is.
stats. Right. It's like cooldown stats, attack, critical hit chance, critical hit damage.
Right.
Those things. So maybe they put Blackthorns and they put like 2 pieces, 100% critical hit damage or something, or 400% or something silly. But then it would be like, okay, so now we're royal ringing it up with Blackthorns on like we do Crimsons. I don't know. I hope they don't.
Yeah, any cross class, like it just ends up being better for some than it is for others, and it's garbage for some, and so it's really like it's not really a cross class set as much as it is like a DH and a Witch Doctor thing,
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm with you. Hex says, how often do you change your bed sheets? Honestly. ...
I mean, when I was single, only if there was like a mess, I guess. But Lindsay changes it all the time. So
Really?
yeah.
Yeah. How often do I personally change them? Hardly ever, because my wife does it. But I help her, I guess, but it's usually when she complains to me. I would say probably not as much as we should. Every Man, I think it's pretty. It's and honestly almost embarrassing to me. I would say like maybe every 3 weeks or something. Like we go a while, 3-4 weeks.
And Lindsay does it pretty quick because like Herbert will get his litter in the bed sometimes, and that bothers her.
Her what?
Herbert, my cat, will get his like litter, in the bed.
Oh yeah. No, we don't really have those. I have a cat, but it doesn't track litter.
Really?
Throughout the house. That's weird. So the room that the litter box is in is destroyed. Like I wear sandals in that room. It's in my laundry room. So like in the laundry room, we have sandals that sit outside because the cat gets litter everywhere.
Right.
And I don't vacuum it up like on the daily, so it's a pain in the ass. But then out of that room though, it's really not that bad.
Yeah. So he gets stuck in his paws, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Delta says, if you had to live in Game of Thrones world or The Walking Dead, which one would you choose?
I've never watched. I watched one episode of The Walking Dead once.
Okay.
Have you watched The Walking Dead?
I've watched the first 2 seasons, maybe. Okay. I mean, there's like 10 or 12.
I tuned in, and it was an episode that like they were like let into this like factory or something to like avoid a zombie chase. And then the people in the factory,
they ended up blowing the factory.
Yes.
Up.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is so stupid.
That was like the end of season 2, I think.
Yeah.
Is that episode. That's like kind of where I stopped watching too. So basically post-apocalyptic, you're running around, every corners could potentially have a zombie around it. Like, so, zombie apocalypse world or Game of Thrones where there's like everybody's a shithead and stabs everybody.
I mean, I'd say Game of Thrones because it's kind of like a fantasy world. Like maybe I could be like a warrior, of types.
So like, okay, let's stipulate this. Let's say that you're like a peasant. You don't get to be like Daenerys. You're like the fucking you're hot pie. You're working at the inn, right?
Right. I mean, like then I guess I choose the zombie world because everyone's a peasant. Technically.
I don't know.
It'd be exciting for a while, and then probably get really annoying.
Zombie world would be fun for a couple days, maybe like shooting up some zombies. But then after a while, you'd be like, dude, I just want to chill.
Yeah.
And at least in Game of Thrones world, maybe you like work at a brothel or something.
Yeah.
That'd be okay.
Yeah, maybe you're a male prostitute. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, male prostituted up. Have Cersei come in and I would say Game of Thrones.
Okay. Yep. Sure.
Silent Assassin says, if the world was going to die out, would you sacrifice yourself to save it, or would you let yourself live and everything else dies? You're fucked either way, man.
Yeah.
If you're the only person alive, like, all right, so I'm going to throw myself in there. I'm going to say, like, I don't sacrifice myself and then my kids and wife die.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of fucking life is that?
Yeah.
I might as well die and let them live. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's caveat and say that, like, you and your family live.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you pick if you and your family got to live, including Lindsay?
I mean, I like life a lot. Opposed to the other route, so
you're killing the whole world. Okay, so we're gonna have the fluffy farm where they're trying to grow corn and beans and
then get to like I'm kind of like Sephiroth at that point, right? Like I'm designing a new world in the image that I want or something. Yeah, let's do that.
There you go.
I mean, if it's between me and like trillions, like, of course, I'd probably bite the bullet, but it would suck. I'd be like, God damn it! I hope you guys appreciate this shit.
I don't know if I believe that. I think we'd be fucked. Yeah, of course, I would sacrifice, man. I got to keep my kids alive. If my family got to live, though, I don't know, dude. That'd be a much more difficult choice.
What if your family had to die for the whole world to live?
The whole family? Oof. Yeah. I mean, I guess you would have to, right? You'd be like, listen, I'm sorry, man.
Wow, dude. You don't love your wife and kids. Got it. That's what I heard. Hope they're not watching 20 years from now.
Sorry, babe. That's it, man. That's all we got this week.
Easy.
If you guys want to submit questions to the podcast, tweet at us at ThaPChild at Lord__Fluffy. Join our Discords. Links are in the YouTube video if you're on YouTube. If you're live, !Discord.
Hell yeah. Chat. And if you guys want to support the podcast, we do have the Patreon page available.
Yes.
Thousands of you still waiting on you guys to sign up. Get on it.
Yep. I know you couldn't find the link. It's there now. Go ahead and click it.
Yep.
And click it and tick it. So that's it, man. I'll catch you guys next week. We'll probably do a little bit of more Final Fantasy bitching, a little bit more spoiler ish
at the end
talk.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end. So come hang out for that. Yep. And that's it.
You hit me up when you beat that thing, which hopefully tonight, tomorrow.
If I do it tonight, it'll be super late. Yeah. But if not, tomorrow for sure.
Word.
Yeah. I mean, I'm grinding it until I beat it. So, you know. We'll see.
Right on. We'll see you guys
peace out.
next week.